Your creativity, my friend, is one of the most powerful tools you have to break free from the stress and the overwhelm that the world is sharing with us today. This is where creativity can become an absolute lifeline for you. Hello, my creative friend. Welcome to the BDI Create.Today podcast. This is a podcast where we'll discover the who, what, where, when, why, and how you can be creative or have more creativity. And together, we'll explore the extraordinary impact creativity can have in your life, in your heart, mind, body, and soul. And if we haven't met yet, I am Beth Buffington, a licensed artist, digital illustration instructor, and a creative coach living just outside of the windy city of Chicago, Illinois. But mostly, I am someone who is curious about how creativity can weave its way into our lives. Now, each week we're going to look at one or more of the sparkly facets that make up the ever-changing kaleidoscope that is creativity. Hello, my creative friend. Welcome back to another episode of Create.Today with Beth Buffington. This is a podcast where we explore creativity, inspiration, and all the ways that creativity can help us live fuller, happier lives in heart, mind, body, and soul. Now, today's episode is one that I think we all need right now because, let's be honest, the world at the moment feels like a lot. The news today is overwhelming. Social media is an endless scream of arguments and disasters and opinions about what is true and what is not. And if you found yourself doom scrolling on your phone, feeling overwhelmed and exhausted, but unable to look away, you're not alone. The news outlets on television share the same flow of if it bleeds, it leads kind of news. And it feels at times like the world is on fire, and sometimes it literally is, right? I see you, my friends in LA. And then as people with personal lives, we add to this mix our own worries that we have about jobs and health, relationships and money. And oh my gosh, that is a stress cocktail that seems to be served up the moment we wake up. And today we're going to talk about how focusing on your creative passion or passions can bring real relief to you from your anxiety and stress. Doesn't that sound good? It is. We're going to talk about what actually happens in your brain when you let it spiral out of control. And then we're going to talk about what happens in your brain when you give it time for creativity. And you're going to learn something amazing today. And then I want you to stick with me because I have a list of 7 simple ways you can relieve your stress and stop catastrophizing to bring you some much needed relief, no matter how busy you are. So right now, let's take a deep breath together. And let's talk about how much better life can be when you take time to create today. So the world feels overwhelming right now. Do you feel that too? I don't think I need to convince you that things feel kind of heavy right now. Politics, climate disasters, global conflicts, bird flu, and inflation, not to mention our own personal challenges. It's a lot to process. Our brains, they are not designed to handle a 24/7 stream of crises. And yet every time we check our phones, there it is, breaking news, another new crisis, another reason to worry. And when this happens, our brain goes into a heightened stress response. And this releases cortisol and adrenaline, the same chemicals that trigger a fight or flight reaction in your body. Now, I want you to think about this for a moment. You probably recognize that acidy feeling of dread that you get when something triggers a stress response in you, right? Think about that for just a second. You're probably nodding your head, going, yeah, yeah, I know. Been there, felt that. And if we don't find ways to calm this reaction of fight or flight, and we keep having it many times during the day and at night, well, it can lead to chronic anxiety, sleep issues, exhaustion, and burnout. Now, my friend, let's take a look at this feeling of fight or flight. It's supposed to be a good thing. It's supposed to give us momentary alertness, focus, and strength to solve a problem that is happening right now. Now, let's say you're a rabbit and you're being chased by a fox. You would get this heightened stress response when you realize a fox is chasing you. And so cortisol and adrenaline would be pumped into your little rabbit body, allowing you to run fast and use your little rabbit brain to find a place to hide. But here's the thing. When this kind of event happens to a rabbit, the event is a small amount of time for them during their day. And as soon as you, the little rabbit, would find safety to hide from your predator, then your little rabbit brain would just relax. Crisis resolved, your brain would think, as a rabbit. And so the cortisol and the adrenaline, that would subside. And your little rabbit self would just go about your happy little rabbit life. You would not reminisce and continue to worry about what just happened. And you would not stress about when this kind of event could happen again. You would just enjoy your rabbit day. But as people, our brains, well, we have imaginations. Now, I was born with an overactive imagination. How about you? And my imagination is amazing at concocting elaborate stories about what did happen yesterday and what then could happen tomorrow. And when allowed, my imagination will broadcast doom and gloom to me over and over and over and over again. Now, since I was a child, you name it, I have worried about it. What if my parents don't come home when they've gone to the store? What if I can't get into the college I want? How will I get a job if I can't get into college? What if the bank turns down my mortgage request? What if you can see how these things changed as I got older? But my imagination was always ready to come up with a story to keep me worrying. Most of the what ifs that I worried about never happened. But my imagination, if I let it, will just hop to new stories all the time. And this, my friend, is why I'm here today. I want to share with you the secrets I've learned about creativity and what I've learned to do with my creativity to combat all the fire that my imagination sees and feels in the world. The reason I started this podcast is to share this good news. Your creativity, my friend, is one of the most powerful tools you have to break free from the stress and the overwhelm that the world is sharing with us today. This is where creativity can become an absolute lifeline for you. So let's talk about the actual brain science behind why creativity reduces anxiety. Let's look at what actually happens in your brain when you are creating. When you give yourself permission, and you have to see that I use that word permission because you have to allow yourself to do this. But when you give yourself permission to focus on a creative passion, your creativity will shift your brain from stress mode to flow mode. And when you're engaged and focused in a creative activity, whether it's painting, writing, knitting, cooking, baking, playing music, doodling, your brain shifts from the amygdala, the stress center, to the prefrontal cortex, the problem solving and creativity center. Now, this means when you allow yourself to focus on your creativity, your stress levels drop, your breathing slows down, your heart rate evens out, and your mind focuses on the present moment and enjoys it rather than racing to think about the what ifs in the future. And that feeling of being completely absorbed in your work, do you know that feeling when you look up and you think, hey, how did an hour already go by? Do you know that feeling when you're having so much fun doing something in the moment? Well, that's called flow state. And research shows that flow state reduces anxiety, it boosts a positive mood, and increases overall well being. Creativity also releases dopamine, that feel good chemical. And when you are creating, your brain rewards you then with this burst of dopamine, which helps combat depression and fatigue and stress. This is the same neurotransmitter released when you experience joy, success, or love. So that is pretty powerful, right? When you sit down to paint, write, sculpt, or even bake a cake, you're literally rewiring your brain towards more happiness and less stress. And the key here is the time you spend creating. And when you are doing that, you need to just create. No pressures to reach a deadline or to create a masterpiece. You're just doing something creative. And in order to receive the benefits of a calmer brain, you need to enjoy just doing, just experimenting. When you focus on your creativity, you're calming your brain. And when you do this, results, the perfection, reaching deadlines, none of that matters. You just want to enjoy what you're doing. So, whatever you're creating, if it isn't perfect, it doesn't matter. The only important thing is that you are creating today. Okay, this sounds pretty amazing, right? So, how can you find the time to create today, especially if you are busy or you're stressed? I get it. When life is overwhelming, adding one more thing to your day can feel impossible. But the kind of creativity I'm talking about, this isn't about pressure or perfection. Remember, it's about giving your brain the space to just breathe. And my friend, you deserve this time. You really do. Now, you know, I love a good list. So I have a list of 7 simple creative ideas to add creativity to your daily routine without feeling like it's just another task on your to-do list. Number 1, keep a no rules sketchbook. So get a notebook, and this notebook will be just for creative stuff. It's not for selling, it's not for posting, it's just for you. So you don't have to show it to anyone. Keep it handy. And when you feel overwhelmed, get it out and then spend a few minutes just doodling, scribble, free write, whatever is on your mind, anything goes, just get it down on paper. Get your emotions out. And you can do this for a few minutes or for as long as you need until your brain feels settled and you've been able to push away from your stressors. Number 2, write a 3-minute journal entry every morning. Now, this is something calming that you would do as a ritual. It is going to have no pressure, no editing. You're not writing the next great American novel. Just write what's on your mind and just get it on the paper. Doesn't have to be a paragraph. It can just be a list of things. It can be little sketches, whatever. This is going to help you process emotions. It's going to clear your mental clutter, especially if you are finding yourself spiraling downward about things that are concerning you. Just get it all on paper. Enjoy this creativity like you would a meditation, and you can have it with your coffee or your tea. And just remember to focus on the doing, not the outcome. And then whatever you write, get out all those stressors and then tell your brain you're going to close the book and you're going to leave the stress inside the notebook. Number 3, take a 5-minute music break. So when you're feeling that dreaded stress response, stop and take a moment to let some music give you some respite. Get out music that you know will be helpful for you so that you won't be dwelling on whatever it is that's causing you the doom and gloom. And then simply listen to this song that's going to brighten your spirits, that moves you and lets yourself feel joy. And then enjoy it. Feel free to dance, play an instrument, sing. Again, all guilt free. And this singing, this dancing, do it like no one is watching because no one is, unless you let them. Number 4, take creative photos on a walk. So turn your daily walk. Maybe you're walking the dog. Maybe you would take a daily walk to a park every day, or it's a walk you take to work. Make this walk into a creative exercise. So what you're going to do is you're going to turn your brain away from whatever it's focusing on as far as the spiraling down from the doom and gloom of the world. And you're going to instead give yourself something to be curious about. Look for color, texture, interesting angles, and capture your world in a way as you take photos with your phone that excites you and makes you curious to explore. So the more photos, the better. And when you allow yourself to focus on something creative during this walk, then your brain stops fixating on the doom that it feels because you're looking for whatever it is you've opened up yourself as far as your curiosity. And this, my friend, will give yourself time to breathe. Number 5, play with something new. Try something creative that you have not tried before. Collage, clay, watercolors, digital art, embroidery, make a smoothie, take a workshop, take a new class, anything that's going to occupy your brain playfully in a creative venue. Remember to focus on the act of the creativity as you are exploring it. And remember that this new thing does not need to be perfect. You're just doing the new thing. So don't stress about perfection or any comparison, especially if you're in a live class and there are other people around you. Be selfish. You're in it just to do something creative. So just have creative fun and let your brain breathe. Number 6, I want you to set a 15-minute creativity timer. So first, you're going to get your creative supplies ready. If you need any creative supplies, get them out and have them all set. Then set a timer for 15 minutes. Next, just create. Whatever it is you got yourself ready to do it for 15 minutes. And when the timer stops, you can stop. No pressure, no expectations. You don't have to finish anything, just a short creative reset. And if you really get in the flow when the timer stops and you're like, I really want to keep going, by all means, keep going. But see, giving yourself permission for just 15 minutes makes it easier to find the time to give yourself the permission to be creative every day. And number 7, join a creative community. When the world feels like a lot, like it does right now, community is a place you need to find. Especially when you're diving into your creativity, you often don't have others around you that have that same passion that can encourage you and support you with the kind of creativity that you're experimenting with. So surrounding yourself with other like-minded creatives makes a huge difference in staying inspired and staying motivated, and it keeps you accountable with your creativity to keep doing it daily. Let me tell you how BDI Create.Today is here to provide that extra help and encourage you with your creativity through community. Sometimes creating feels a bit lonely when you are doing it all by yourself. But my friend, one of the best ways to stay inspired and to keep your creativity thriving is to be part of a creative community. How many of you belong to a book group? Yeah, a lot of you do. And one of the things a book group does is helps you get books read. And it introduces you to books you might never have found. That's what a creative community does. It helps you stay accountable to get more done. And it's also going to bring new ideas to the table about creative inspiration and techniques and tips that you never thought to try. And this is why I created the Create.Today membership. BDI Create.Today, it is a safe place where creatives can come to meet and mingle with like-minded creatives to find cheerleaders who are going to support and respect you and your creativity. Inside the Create.Today membership, you get inspiration and tips and unique creative ideas to keep your creativity challenged, ignited, and alive, and still happening on a daily basis. And with the Create.Today membership, you'll find encouragement and accountability to stay focused on how your unique creativity can enrich your life in heart, mind, body, and soul. So if you're looking for a way to stay creatively energized and break free from the stress spiral of today's world, Create.Today is a safe space to land and to grow your creativity. To learn more about the treasures that BDI Create.Today has ready to share with you right now, visit www.bdi-create.today and you can become part of this wonderful community that supports the many benefits that creativity provides us today and every day. Because, my friend, it is when we gather together in community that we find ways to cope, we find answers to problems, and we find safety in our numbers. And we discover that we are in this together. But most importantly, you're going to realize the power creativity has to bring goodness in your life, in heart, mind, body, and soul. When you have creativity as a tool for well-being in your life, this gives you strength. Yes, the world feels overwhelming right now, but you'll discover with creative strength that you are not powerless. Every time you pick up your paintbrush, your pen, your camera, or your clay, you're choosing peace over panic. You're choosing creative focus over fear. And the more you create, the more you remind yourself that there is beauty in the world and that you don't have to feel powerless because you have strength through the power of your creativity. And ultimately, this is a gift that you can give back to the world, to a world that is in need of the creativity that you have uniquely. Your creativity is a light for you and for you to give to others. So take a moment to take a deep breath and find time to create something today. I am so grateful that you are here. And if you know someone who could benefit from today's message, please share this podcast and take a peek at past episodes to find other treasures about you and your creativity that can add more strength and power to your well-being. So no matter what the headlines are screaming at you today and tomorrow and next week, remember, it is important for your overall well-being for you to stay creative, my friend. And now let's take a second to hear a word from our sponsor, and that would be me. Are you dreaming of starting your own creative business or side hustle? Are you ready to learn a new way of creating your art using Procreate on your iPad that will help you make your creative dream a reality? then, my friend, it is time for you to learn the art of Procreate. Come and create today with me to discover how you can go from Procreate to products to profits using the beautiful digital art you create with Procreate. Inside Create Today, you'll find tutorials, guides, workshops, and online courses that will perfectly fit where you should go next with your Procreate adventure. And if you're ready to move forward with your creative business or side hustle, come and join the Create Today membership. Inside my membership, you'll be able to build your creative confidence and map out your next best step to the goals that will take you to your chosen creative destination. Not sure where your next right step should be? No worries. Set up a consultation with me and we can determine the resources that are best for the season of creativity you are in right now. Ready to reach your true creative potential? Let's get you started. Go to www.bdi-create.today and explore all the resources that BDI Create.Today has for creatives just like you. Be prepared to change the way you think about creating your art and reaching your creative dreams and goals. I cannot wait to create today with you right now.